And I think it got to her to the point where she was just mad. She was upset. She feels like she was played. And she actually made a post where it seems like, I don't know if this is an old video or a current video, where for the first time in months, she basically posted a video without her hijab, basically saying that she does whatever she wants. She has no blind loyalty, but she did say at the very end that she still says, Alhamdulillah. Now, I'm not going to show it just because it's there. If you want to go find it, find it. I personally believe that Brittany Renner has had a lapse in faith to a degree. She's personally had a lapse of confidence. I think it's unfortunate because she honestly was doing the right thing. She was actually living a very humble and pious lifestyle. Well, unfortunately, it looks like I was right. If you are unaware, a few months ago, Brittany Renner, someone who online has been accused of being a bop, a 304, someone who is repeatedly denigrated for her past and her practices, mostly because she became infamous for being an individual who was in a relationship with an NBA player, got pregnant by the NBA player, eventually divorced, and then claimed that she needed X amount of money to continue day-to-day operations, and people accused her of basically being a run-of-the-mill gold digger. Now, as time has moved on, Brittany Renner actually ended up converting to Islam. She did it on her own. She ended up being interested in it and going along with it. And that is despite popular belief that people have now started to say, a rumor, that she only ever became Muslim to marry Kevin Kevin Gates. Sorry, I got the two mixed up. Now, for Brittany Renner, her recent unfortunate demise when it comes to her own mental health and her own mental fortitude is that she got into a relationship with Kevin Gates. Now, Kevin Gates, if you're not aware of, is a rapper. He's someone who became Muslim. He's an African-American rapper, Muslim. He's also someone who on Instagram messaged me and personally said,
"But you don't know if I'm married already. You just talking. So because you just talking, you know what I'm saying? I told you to eat my dick. That's a figure of speech."
And this all stemmed when Mr. Gates made a video posting himself with Brittany Renner in a car. She was wearing a full mendil and a hijab, and she was just sitting there in the car. They were holding hands, and it looked to me like they were dating. I didn't know if they were married or not, and all I said was, "This ain't a good look," and Mr. Gates did not like that. Now, unfortunately, the worst outcome has happened where it seems like Kevin Gates and Miss Renner were married for about a month or so. I guess it didn't work out, and the marriage seems to be annulled. Now, as a result of this, because this basically amplified Brittany Renner, she also went back onto BET's Basketball Wives, and a lot of people who don't like her have increased, and a lot of people who have denigrated her, not only for her past, but for her new choice in religion has increased. Many people in her comment sections are saying things like she's cosplaying as a Muslim, she's pretending to be those people, take those clothes off, that's not who you are. Trying to say things like she only became Muslim for Kevin Gates and she just wanted the money, which is not true in her defense. But unfortunately, so many people who simply showed up to hate on her are not going to listen to the facts or the information. They just go along with their own narrative. The narrative being that she converted to Islam in order to somehow woo Kevin Gates. That's literally the opposite. It looked to me like Kevin Gates was basically interested in her. It looks like she had just become Muslim. She had just entered the religion. And unfortunately, she was vulnerable. And unfortunately, it looks like, I don't know all the details, but the relationship went sour. And because of that, it seems like all the negativity has gone to her, all the hatred has gone to her, and multiple times, even on Basketball Wives, she was denigrated for wearing hijab.
How many drinks have you had?
I had this water, baby. Okay. How many have you had? Under your hijab.
What are you bringing up my hijab for?
I'm saying what I'm saying. That's what I'm doing.
Saying, take it off, you look stupid, etc., etc. And I think it got to her to the point where she was just mad. She was upset. She feels like she was played. And she actually made a post where it seems like, I don't know if this is an old video or a current video, where for the first time in months, she basically posted a video without her hijab, basically saying that she does whatever she wants. She has no blind loyalty, but she did say at the very end that she still says, Alhamdulillah. Now, I'm not going to show it just because it's there. If you want to go find it, find it. I personally believe that Brittany Renner has had a lapse in faith to a degree. She's personally had a lapse of confidence. I think it's unfortunate because she honestly was doing the right thing. She was actually living a very humble and pious lifestyle by saying that even with her deal with Fashion Nova, she said, all right, guys, I need to figure out how to make this modest. I still want to get paid. I still want to uphold my contract, but I want to be modest. And it seems like once she started to enter back into areas of her old life, like Basketball Wives, where obviously it's a fake show with fake drama, but there's real comments, there's real feelings, there's things that might come out of that. And she was in that negative environment. And at the same time, she then got basically introduced to a larger, wider audience, most of them being a lot of Black Americans, who saw this and said, why is this person who is known for being a promiscuous woman is pretending to be a pious Muslim, pretending to be this person? Take that off, take that off. And the hatred, negativity basically got to her, and it seems like she kind of had a moment of, I'll do what I want to do. But unfortunately, she kind of did exactly what these people wanted. They were upset to see that she had found a new confidence. They were upset to see that she had found a new self-respect. They were upset to see that she looked to be someone who was excelling financially, mentally, as well as religiously. And because of that, they unknowingly kind of pushed her to her own demise and her own negative action. Now, again, this isn't the end of the world. I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, if you lie one time, does that mean you're a liar? If you tell the truth one time, does that mean you're honest? I think that unfortunately, she basically kind of fell into the trap of someone who recently she basically converted to a new religion. I'm sure, I don't know how her parents or family felt about this, but they might have been pressuring her and saying that, you know, this is weird, this is odd, just, you know, when you come to Easter this Sunday, don't wear that. I don't know her personal circumstances, but from the information and the way that the negativity has built up, it probably got to her and she probably just lashed out and decided to do that. It's unfortunate though, because I think that that's a reaction as opposed to something that she really wanted to do. I think she simply just kind of let the hate get to her, unfortunately, and then ended up not working out for the best. In my opinion, I think that she has more than enough time to basically reconcile her differences. I think that, unfortunately, sometimes when you listen to people's opinion online and you actually take it into consideration heavily, it sometimes affects your own mood and emotions, and I think that's what happened here. And again, at the end of the day, she's free to do whatever she wants. If she wants to become Jewish, she can do that. If she wants to become Christian, she can do that. She chose basically to convert to Islam. She wanted to explore that lifestyle. And unfortunately, it looks like once she kind of was introduced to a larger audience and a broader scope, she basically had hit so much negativity that ended up getting to her. And the devil whispered in her ear to react to these individuals. And she did just that. But I think it really is true that most people are just salty to see that she had found a new self-worth. She had basically rightfully kind of started to be more pious and modest, and they hate that. That's one of those things where if you go back to historically speaking, if you look at someone like Marcus Garvey, he was someone who basically had African-American troops come back where suits look good and look great. And you know how white people were back then. They couldn't stand that. They hated that. They didn't like to see that. Same thing with Muhammad Ali. When he had become Muslim, everyone was calling him Cassius Clay and disrespecting him. And they were also saying things like he's too cocky or too haughty. In reality, he knew his worth and he was confident. Obviously, these are just analogies and extreme comparisons. But it does apply that when Miss Renner started to basically be more pious, be more modest, and put out a positive image, she got more hate than she ever got when she was doing these same old posts, because there was more people there and they were showing up to purposely try to push her down and put her down. And unfortunately, it looks like there was a moment of weakness where she basically reacted to their hatred. But I think that as time goes on and as she gets more and more used to her own life, her own new skin, and her own new self-worth, she can basically ignore all the hate and continue on. And let me just say, this does now validate the bit of hater that I had shown to Mr. Kevin Gates, because I said for her to be careful because Kevin Gates is not one to play with. Sometimes he's the most demonic Muslim in the world, and it looks like this might be the case. I'm not gonna put it all on Kevin Gates. I'm gonna make excuses for that brother, but I smelt it. I smelled something fishy going on, and I don't want to say anything more because I do not want Kevin Gates to send me another voice memo. I don't want the beef. I don't want to be disrespectful. All I'm saying is I had a gut feeling about bad vibes, and it looks like that may have been the case.